Hey, 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 welcome to another video. Welcome to the Bojoul channel, the home of self-care, wellness, and any and everything that will help you to become a better and more empowered version of yourself. So yeah, welcome today. Um, I ran across a post earlier this week, and it was a post about something having to do with like not worrying about certain things. It was, I can't exactly explain the post, but it was just about like relax, stop worrying about everything. That was kind of the post or whatever. But anyway, it inspired me and it took me back to the days when I was in school, when I was in college. And I went to a Bible college. But well, yeah, it was a Bible college, but it had different, fields of study that you could major in. It had nursing, it had psychology, it had all different types of tracks that you could be on, but you had to take a certain level of Bible, before you even moved on to your field of focus. Anyway, but anyway, I remember being in college, and in one of my Bible classes, we studied about the ancient ruins of Rome. Now, follow me. This is not a history lesson. I'm linking it to our self-care and the position and the stance that we take in terms of certain things that happen to us. That this whole series, and it's going to be two parts of this series as well, but this whole series was inspired by the post that I heard the other day about relax. Anyway, while I was in Bible class, we had to study the ancient ruins of Rome, and I didn't really understand the significance of it. But anyway, Rome was one of the most influential civilizations of the world. When I say influential, I mean they revolutionized the way we live today. Like, I got a few things here just to kind of bring it all together. Like, for instance, like plumbing. They were among the first to start being innovative with the plumbing system. It's hard for us to think back because most of us were raised and born with a toilet and sink and shower in a bathroom, but it has not always been like that. And, over different civilizations revolutionized it as, time went on. The same way we do today. We think we have certain things and we make them better. So yeah, this is back in 900, 800 BC. So they revolutionized plumbing. They also revolutionized heating, having the ability that heat could circulate, you know what I mean, better than it did. Instead of just having like a heat source in one spot, they started this whole system where they had this engineering technique where the heat could continuously burn and transport heat in a room like evenly without being too hot, without being too cold. They also revolutionized surgery as we know it today. They didn't necessarily revolutionize surgery, but they started surgeries like the C-section. They started battlefield surgeries when soldiers would get hurt on the field, like being able to give them like immediate help. They revolutionized concrete, which allowed them to revolutionize roadways. A lot of roads and paths that you had to journey to certain areas, it wasn't paved. It wasn't like smooth like we know it. It was just like dirt roads. You had to kind of, build a track to go wherever you were going, and it was difficult. They also revolutionized bound books. Instead of having tablets and pages here and pages there, they kind of put it together. They started the Julian calendar, right? The calendar that we look at from January to December. July was named after Julius Caesar, and August was after Emperor Augustus. So my point that I'm saying, and I don't want to go so deep in this because this is so interesting, but that's not the point of our conversation. I just wanted to preface the conversation by mentioning some noteworthy accomplishments that they made to our society. They were a very, very influential society. Romans were very influential, and they were very smart and ingenious, and they did so much. They were powerful. Like, they were one of the most powerful, you know, they were just so, what I want to say, they were so, like, the same way how we felt about when the iPhone came out, or matter of fact, the internet, how ingenious and how innovative that was, right? It was like, it got, whoa, you could kind of talk to people all over the world, and you don't have to be like, it was like, whoa. The things that the Romans did back then were sort of kind of in that same vein, like a calendar, a bound book, plumbing, like serious, like it was major. So I say all that to say that they spent their lives, it was a whole civilization, generation after generation of these Roman civilians, and they were so powerful. And so here's the part to the conversation that links it back to our self-care. And all that they done, every contribution they made to our current society, they definitely go down in history to be remembered, because a lot of things that you even talk about, a lot of new innovations that we talk about, they always make reference a lot of times to the Roman civilization. However, all of that they did, and it was generations after generations that made these innovations and these revolutions to our society. We had to study the ancient ruins of Rome. And at the time, I promise you, it never hit me. It never hit me. But what hit me so profoundly when I heard that post, I'm linking it all back together, about the things we stress and the things we carry on about and the things we make ourselves sick about. That entire civilization, all of the people, the children, generation after generation, are now gone. They are no longer with us. Not only are the people no longer with us, but it is called the ancient ruins of Rome. So a lot of those, all of those beginning innovations and the things that they were hee-hawing about, and it was a cat's meow at that time, it's gone. And now they serve as interesting sights to see when you visit Rome. They are tourist attractions that people want to see, like, wow, like, oh, they're gone though. That's the point. They're gone. And at the time, like I said, I never put it together that we are here, right? You want to make an impact in this world. It's two things that I want to focus on in terms of this Roman civilization. One, that when they were here, they made an impact that reverberated even to our day right now. What they were doing, they were busy making an impact, leaving a legacy, leaving the world better than they found it. And I have such great respect for that culture because of them, I am now a beneficiary. You are a beneficiary of just their ingenious, their focus, their dedication to just want to make the world better. Imagine if they were very much concerned, a lot of these individuals who made these innovations, imagine if they were concerned with the nonsense. Imagine if they were concerned with the mindless happenings of the society, because I'm sure they had them. Every society has it. Just the nonsense, the foolishness. What if they were so caught up with that? Everybody was so caught up with that. We wouldn't have what we have today, or we would be far behind where we are today. Maybe another civilization would have come up with it. But my point is, in reference to our self-care, is focus on how you will leave this world better than you found it. We are so consumed with things that make no difference, that will make no difference on your deathbed, that will make no difference in the world when you leave it, that will make no difference to your children. It makes no difference. The only difference that type of focus will bring is stress, illness, and disease to your body and to your mind. We have to learn how to prioritize and focus on what it is that we are doing in this world. And if you don't know, it is high time to start to find that out. Because see, self-care is about understanding where you are at this moment and what I'm supposed to be doing. On this channel, we focus on the care of ourselves, including our bodies, including our minds. We focus on those things, right? If you don't take care of your body and your mind, you can forget about leaving anything or being involved or being influential and leaving this world better than it was before you came. Self-care, right, is about purpose. When you feel fulfilled in this life, life looks differently. When you're living an unfulfilled life without purpose, without a reason to even wake up, it sort of kind of destroys the process of self-care before you even start, because you really don't care about even anything. Your fulfillment comes in you enjoying and discovering your purpose and working your fingers and your focus to the bone to accomplish that purpose. I believe that God has put purpose in every one of us. I really believe that from the bottom of my heart. And when you navigate and you tap into that purpose, life looks and hits differently, no matter what happens to you. No matter what life throws at you, when you have a purpose, you have a reason for being, it hits different. And as I was retracing the Romans' innovations and their inventions and what they were doing, it just kind of hit me hard. Like, what legacy, what am I doing? Where is my focus at, that I'm going to leave something here better than what I found it? It's easy to come into a house and they have food and they have everything for you. They have the bed for you. They have the bathroom. They have all of your toiletries, your clothing. But it's another story when you are providing those things for others to benefit from. It feels differently. Instead of just being a taker, we have to learn how to give. That's one of the most famous principles in the Bible. Better it is to give than to receive. What are you giving? I love when somebody gives to me. It does feel nice, but I promise you it feels better to give to other people. And especially when you are focused on leaving a legacy for generations to come. Not just your children, your children's children, and your children's children, but the world at large. These Romans, they left the world in a better position than they came. That's the thing. When you're talking about self-care, even when people see you caring for yourself in a certain type of way, that's inspiring. They may make fun of you. They may even tease you or make you the highlight of a conversation all the time. But it's inspiring. And especially when what I have found is that I started my self-care journey, like really taking my self-care journey seriously, like in 2005, 2004, 5. And when I started, I was vegan. And that was my introduction to just trying to figure out my body and what was going on and this and that and the third. And a lot of my friends and a lot of my family was like, what? I was like such the outlier. Anytime we would go to dinner or what you gonna eat? What you gonna eat? You know? But I realize now that as time has gone by and a lot of my friends and family have become more conscious of their own health. And they come back to me. They're like, yo, so remember when you was, and so, you know, they're asking the question because that in that moment, I didn't know it, but I was inspiring other people to look at themselves and how they care about themselves. That was, let me see, that was 20 years ago. My goodness. That was like 20 years ago. And I'm just as passionate then. I'm just as passionate now as I was then. The only difference now is that I have learned how to make some adjustments to my lifestyle. Like instead of just like I have learned that I'm not a fan of any type of fad, anything. Like I don't like extreme anything, nothing extreme. I feel like for me, balance has become that key for me. Learning how to eat certain ways and pull away from certain things and, you know, take time for myself, bond with myself. Certain things in life I've learned that works for me. And that's what that self-care journey does. It allows you, again, to become self-aware, what you need, what you do not need. And in doing that, you inspire people. Trust me, they're looking at you. And not even if they're not looking at you, they start looking at themselves and trying to ascertain how can they become better? How can they kind of make some little tweaks? Because I promise you, a little more water, a little less sugar, a little more exercise, a little more sleep, a little more friends and empowering associates. Like those things matter. You are leaving something to help somebody else to get better. That's when you start to delve into your purpose, what you here to do. Everybody have different things. Everybody can't have the same purpose, but I promise you that you have one. And so as we analyze the ancient ruins of Rome, I always call to mind my professor, Dr. Murray. He just always use this term about the grand scheme of things. I promise you, it's so amazing how when someone is saying something or sharing information with you, it don't hit at the time, but it hits. It could hit. I'm talking about this was 2015, and I'm telling you about it now because it was so profound. It's so profound to me now because it keeps my mind focused where it should be. Instead of letting it meander all over the place, Dr. Murray used to say, think about the grand scheme of things. That's how he started his conversations or his lectures or whatever you guys were talking. In the grand scheme of things, though, look at it that way. In other words, come out of it and look at the big picture. Does it really matter? Is it really that important? I promise you, doing that has helped me with my children, has helped me with my friends. When I feel like somebody has slighted me, or I feel like my kids are out of order, or I feel like just something in my life is not right, I have to step back and say, but in the grand scheme of things, is it worth me derailing my attention and focusing on this thing now? Is it gonna make a difference in my destiny? Is it gonna make a difference in my purpose? Because let me tell you something, and I will round up. In life, right? Sometimes we think that we're invincible and you got the energy and you have the time to do all of these things. But everybody has a limited amount of time. Everybody, no exception, right? And guess what? Here's the thing. The same way ancient Rome is now ruins, some generations from now, what we experience now and what we're doing now is going to be ruins. And it will be also looked at as a tourist attraction, something to be studied so that they can innovate where they're going, right? So in the grand scheme of things, right? One, what are you leaving? How are you leaving this world better than where you found it? Two, redirect your energy to the things that matter in the grand scheme of things. Many times I stayed up crying about certain situations and things or whatever. And at the time, it seemed so monumentous. But as I look back and I say, wow, that was so unimportant. Because my mind was focused in a direction that it should not have been. And what I do now is I pray and I ask God, help me to keep my mind where you want my mind to be. Because there's so many distractions in this world. You don't understand how that eats and it erodes at your time that you have here. I don't care if I got another 100 years left here. I want to live that 100 years to the best and the fullest of my ability. I don't have time to worry and stress about this, that, the third. Yeah, things are going to come. Things are going to happen. And I'm going to be taken aback. But it helps when you have an infrastructure of reasoning to say, hey, in the grand scheme of things, is this important? Or if I take my attention and I refocus it over here, will it make an impact in my future? Will it impact my purpose for good or for negative? These are the questions that we got to ask ourselves. I'm so grateful that it's crazy how you're in school, but things hit years later. It's amazing. Even with your parents, different things my parents told me years ago. And now later, I'm like, whoa, I got it. That's why we got to keep speaking to our kids. They act like they don't hear. They act like they don't hear you. They hear you. They hear you. It's being downloaded into their psyche. It comes back. Trust me. You can even recall things that your parents said. They thought you wasn't listening, but you got it. Bingo. And so in this first series of the ancient ruins of Rome and how it relates to our self-care, I just want you to understand that they are ruins. And the life and the world that we know it, generations from now, will be gone. The refrigerator probably won't look like the same refrigerator. The neighborhood won't even look like the neighborhood. Even look at it now. Look how things are gentrifying right before your eyes. Things are changing. I went back to my hometown and I couldn't even find, and I know the roads there. I've been there, I was there for years, but I was a little turned around because they done rebuilt so many things and the landmarks that I once remembered are no longer there. So it's happening right before your eyes. So in that being said, be mindful of where you put your attention and where you put your energy. Because in a minute, guess what? It ain't going to matter. What matters is you understanding your purpose. And I'm telling you, your self-care, it heightens the level of self-care that you administer to yourself because you understand that you're here for a reason. The ancient ruins of Rome. Whoever thought that you could link it to your self-care? I'm going to come back with a second part of this series about focusing on that which is important. I got a few things that I feel like in that grand scheme that we all should be focusing on. Because at the end, it's only what matters, what's most important at the end. at the end of your journey, at the end of your career, at the end of your whatever the end of. But I'm thankful that we've able to have this conversation. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. This is the Bojoul channel, the home of self-care, wellness, and any and everything that'll help you to become the most powerful version of you. Later.